CNN, there's an army of them being dragged out to the protests in their gun control onesies. It's too much. When I was a kid, adults used to look at me and they said, you remember this? They said, you can do anything. Astronaut, lawyer, whatever. They were like, you can do anything. Now we're looking at these kids like, is there anything you can do? Like little Johnny's gonna pop out of the bonus room, 15 of his friends behind him. Hey Dad, we were sitting on a chat room called Little People Big Problems, and we got something for the population crisis. It's a breakthrough. You have to go over and peel the Tide Pod out of his mouth, like, get that condom out of your nose. Go play you another round of fork knife. Good God. Be the last generation soon enough. I'm glad to be here. I've been trying to stop smoking weed. Anyone else? Anyone else tried that? It's hard, you know? I like weed for the same reason that I hate weed. It just gives you way too much accomplishment for someone that's doing nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I cruised into my kitchen the other day with my laundry tucked under my arm, just high as a kite, and I'm like, what am I doing here? My eyes roamed the dirty everything, and then I hit the clock, and I was like, oh, it's 4:20. Guess I'm here to smoke. 3 hours later, I'm picking my dirty underwear out of my dry rack next to the sink, like, whose idea was this? I think the problem is that there's no 420 equivalent for dishes, you know? I think that's what it really is. If it was like 6:31, do your dishes, I'd have it, but you know, here I am just passing stuff in a circle to myself. I got a lazy Susan with a pipe on it, and I'm just slapping it. I've been trying to smoke a little bit of the CBD. Have y'all seen that? First time I saw that, it just blew me away. Someone was selling it on the street at a festival right next to a police checkpoint, and I was like, hey, there, 5-0. 5-0. You're between two 5-0. 5-0 smoking a joint. What is happening? So I walked up to the guy and I was like, are y'all smoking weed? And he was like, no, this is not weed. And I was like, well, I'm smelling it. Like, what is it? It smells like weed. And he's like, no, it's not weed. And I was like, no, man, you're smoking weed. And he's like, no, we're smoking not weed. And I was like, you're not smoking weed? And he's like, no, we're smoking not weed. And I was like, so you're high? And he's like, no, we're not high. So I was like, you're not getting high. And he's like, no, we're getting not high. Like, what do you not understand? And I was like, all of it. The fuck is happening right now? And he's like, we're getting not high on not weed. And you can have some if you want. And I was like, oh, now I get it. But I've learned that it's not illegal. I was like, so it's legal? And he's like, no, it's not illegal. And I was like, so kids can do it? And he's like, well, they can't not. And I was like, what are you saying? He's like, well, it's not illegal. So what it boils down to is there's kids all over the county that are not high right now, and it just pisses me the fuck off. You know what I'm saying? Like, someone needs to watch out these kids. They're just too not high. It's concerning. I am concerned. Well, those are the drug bits that I remember. You know, I'll leave you with a quick story about my father. It's 20 minutes long, and I'll do it right after this joke. I got another story, it's a little bit shorter. I'll do that first, then 3 jokes, then a story about my father. But first, the first time I ever did Xanax. I just took something someone handed to me, and then I walked into my kitchen, And I was just kind of like staring open my mouth at my mom. And then I looked over at my dad, and he's just staring at me, just shooting daggers. And he's like, son, where'd you get that beer? And I looked down, I had a beer, and I was like, oh. And then I looked over at my mom, and she was like, it's okay. He asked, and I told him he could have it. And I was like, oh. So then I bummed a few cigarettes, and I got a Greyhound cigarette ticket, and now I'm here. All right, y'all, it's been a lot of fun. Let's bring Baby George on stage!